Saturday sees the running of Western Australia's richest race, the $5 million Quokka, and we're lucky enough to have Brittany Taylor joining us. Brittany, what's the vibe like over there in Perth for the week?
Pip, I cannot tell you how excited everybody here is in the West. It's been such a big build-up with the Quokka, as it is for any slot race. I think we're talking about this race months and months in advance as each of the slot holders lock away their contender. And now it's finally here, the week's upon us, and I just can't wait for Saturday, and it looks like we're going to get the most perfect conditions. 31 degrees is the forecasted top at the moment. It'll be sunny skies. We'll be on a good 4 track, and the rails at the 3 metre position, which I think is the best pad that we've got.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous there at the moment, and I'm sure it will be on Saturdays. We take a look at the market, see who heads the betting, and it is Amelia's Jewel, who was runner-up last year at $3.50, overpassed last year's winner at $4.50 in the market again. Then you've got Bella Nipotina at $6, and where is he? The trackside media slot holder, Waitak, he's at $26 in the market. So that's a look at them. Brittany, as we head back to you, who are the key contenders you think that we need to look out for?
If we have a closer look at a few of the key lead-up races into this Quokka, one I really want to show you is the Roma Cup. This is probably the key lead-up for the locals heading into this Quokka. We mainly want to focus on Oscar's Fortune, Amelia's Jewel and Ripcord. Triple Missile's also in this race, and he'll take his place on Saturday afternoon. But it's those top 3 that I want to discuss, because Oscar's Fortune was a brilliant winner of this race. He's the one that settles in the box seat, so he had the map advantage on Amelia's Jewel and Ripcord. One thing to note is that Oscar's Fortune was going into this race second up. He had the fitness on his side from a first up run in the Bluff Knoll. Amelia's Jewel and Ripcord, I think, had plenty of fitness improvement to come. Probably Ripcord even more so than Amelia's Jewel. And the difference on Saturday is that he'll have the map advantage over Amelia's Jewel after she drew barrier number 12. So she's going to be getting back. She's going to have clear air out wide, and we know how devastating her turn of foot can be. I think she has the superior turn of foot to a horse like Ripcord, but Ripcord's going to have the map advantage, which is different to what we saw in that Roma Cup. It's going to bring them closer together come Saturday.
Amelia's Jewel trying valiantly. Oscar's Fortune in front of Amelia's Jewel, and Oscar's Fortune has upset the favourite.
Well, of the East Coasters, I think one that we have to focus in on is Bella Nipotina. She's the winner of $8.6 million in prize money, if you don't mind. And you have to look at this run in the TJ. We know that it was on a heavy aid. They were underwater in Sydney on day 1 of the championship. So I think she was expected to run really well, because we know she loves getting her toe into the ground. But have a look at this. She only just misses victory in the TJ Smith Stakes. And that is one of our best races in Australia. And now she comes straight to Perth. She ran 3rd in this race last year. Can she go a couple better this year?
Chain of Lightning kicking. Chain of Lightning's won the TJ, beating Bella Nipotina, and I Wish I Win.
And of course, we have to look at Trackside New Zealand's representative in Waitak. His last race run was mid-February. So this trial here, all important in the lead up to the travel to come across to Perth, just to make sure that his fitness levels were right where they needed to be before jumping on that plane to Sydney and then to Perth. And I thought this was a really nice stretch of the legs. You can see just how well he moves. And I thought we saw that at track work again on Tuesday morning at Breakfast with the Stars. He's a lovely animal with a great composition, really nice attitude. He's settled in beautifully, and love the way he moves.
He's a big, beautiful horse, isn't he? We'll be back to Brittany very shortly, but she did actually catch up with Andrew Scott when he first arrived in Perth, and just asked him how Waitak has handled the long trek over there.
Yeah, Brittany looks great. Look, you know, he's handled it. He's a tough gelding. He's come over here and eaten and thrived, and his body weight. Look, he lost about 14 kilos on the trip from Auckland to Sydney to Perth, but he's put it all back on within a quick period of time. So no, he's thriving. He's eaten well. He doesn't look dehydrated at all. He looks great. So no, his work this morning, whilst it was a pretty quiet piece, we're trying to keep him fresh and keep him bouncy. If anything, he probably is looking for a little further than the 1200, but with the light piece of work this morning, he looked keen to get on, and he's got a good bit of bounce about him. He's the sort of a new kid on the block, and it's very hard to compare New Zealand sprinters to, well, it's not often a New Zealand sprinter comes over and be's competitive with some of your best sprinters. And look, we're very hopeful. There's not a great deal of confidence. We've just got to hope that, we know if he gets the right sort of run and they get along a bit, he can quicken well. It's just, for him to be his best chance, he probably needed a good bit of give in the ground. But look, he's here, he's as well as he can be, and we've just got to hope that he quickens well on the day. But very hard to measure up the form, but we'll always bear in mind that New Zealanders come over here and they generally, their best chances are over 2,000 metres.
Well, as you would expect, Brittany, it's a super field. It's worth $5 million. So have you come up with a top 4 for us?
Now, a top 4 in this race has honestly given me sleepless nights. And you speak to all of the form analysts here in Perth and everybody is of the same opinion. When you write down your 4 and then you start looking and think, well, I've missed this one, I've missed that one. There's genuinely, I think, about 7 runners that you can make a serious winning case for. I've settled on King of Sparta. I keep going back to that expressway victory back in February, and Malkovich was in that race, really ran them along, and King of Sparta was able to reel him in. We're going to get similar sort of conditions in terms of the race on Saturday. Malkovich is drawn to lead, and I think he only knows one way, and that is to really run them along. King of Sparta, drawn barrier 4, I think is going to get a lovely run and has a beautiful turn of foot when it matters. So I'm going with King of Sparta. Pains me to say that I'm not going with one of the locals. Amelia's Jewel, I think, will run second. I think she'll be flashing at the rate of knots out wide. She's drawn barrier number 12. So she is just going to have the map disadvantage, I guess. She's going to be that little bit further back, but she's an absolute superstar. And then we could look at this 3rd and 4th spot, and this is where it gets a bit tricky. Overpass, you just can't fault what he's done here at the Ascot 1200. He won the inaugural edition of this race, and then he backed it up by coming back and winning our Group 1 1200 metre Winterbottom Stakes back in November. So he's undefeated at the Ascot 1200, 2 from 2. Can he make it 3? Well, of course he can, but I'm thinking that he just gets collared late and runs 3rd. And when it comes to 4th, I keep going between Ripcord, who we saw in that Roma Cup. I think just fitness-wise, he has so much improvement, and with the map advantage now, and Oscar's Fortune, who's going to get this perfect suck run just in behind the speed. I think they'll be duelling it out for 4th. So that's almost a top 5 if I'm allowed to do that.
I suppose just because it's you, Brittany, we'll let you do that. It's been fantastic to have you part of the form, and we're really looking forward to you being part of the coverage on Saturday for the Quokka.
Thanks, Pip. Can't wait for Saturday. I'll be here at Ascot bringing you all the latest on Whitehack and everything to do with the Quokka for trackside. Can't wait.
Thanks, Brittany. That was Brittany Taylor, and yes, she'll be joining us on Saturday trackside 1 as well. As we have a look at this promotion with the TAB, we do have a bonus back around the Kiwi slot holder, back New Zealand's own Whitehack, and if he finishes 2nd to 7th, which come on, surely he can, you can get a $50 bonus bet back in your account. So get him behind Whitehack in the Quokka this weekend at Ascot.